Welcome back. All right, so news of the day video for all you fine people for your Monday, November the 28th. Starting off with some news that came out yesterday. So, Rachel Dory, who was fired by the Canucks after being promoted by the Canucks, has filed a complaint against the Canucks. She has now made the text of that complaint public, which basically alleges some behavior that she didn't like that involved Emily Castengay, the assistant general manager to the Canucks, and that also painted Patrick Alvine and the HR department in kind of a poor light as well. I read through the 6 pages of it. I then read the statement back from the Canucks. The one thing that I always find interesting is this: there are people online who have decided that the Vancouver Canucks are a terrible organization run by terrible people that do terrible things. I've heard things over the years. I don't obviously share those on the channel because it's not really my place to jump into all that. And I've heard both, basically both angles of it, where it sounds like the team does a really good job and where the team doesn't. And so truth's probably somewhere in between. The one issue I had looking through the complaint from her was that I didn't see texts or emails that I think would necessarily count as evidence. Everything's basically this person said this person said this person did that. Professional organizations are pretty good when it comes to having a contract drawn up that will basically make it so they can do what they want. One thing that she had in her complaint was they only gave her 24 hours in order to go through and sign it. That they didn't give her enough time. She felt to get legal counsel for that, and I don't know that legally they have to. I don't know that they do. So my guess is this probably gets settled out of court, but there are people who can't stand Rachel, so they will take the side of whoever. Whether it's, in the past or the present, if someone has a problem with Rachel, they'll decide that, that's who they're backing. And vice versa. People who really don't like the Canucks will just decide that's it. I'm even seeing a lot of there's press too that teams on a 3 game winning streak, and all they can do is try to pour cold water on it, like, well, yeah, but still this team kind of sucks. Don't forget now. Don't forget. I know it looks like the team's playing well right now, but don't forget they suck. So it's it's really, it's funny because I get told that I'm negative all the time, and then I read some of this stuff and I'm like, are you serious right now? They won all 3 games on a winning streak, and you can complain about how they won. All right, cool, great, awesome. So yeah, that's where the state of things are right now with Vancouver. So we'll see what happens. Again, I don't think we're going to know the whole story. I just find it crazy how quickly people will make a judgment one way or the other. Judgments shouldn't be made either direction unless you have direct knowledge of the situation. We just don't know. So, that being said, that being done, let us move on to what's mostly injury news from around the National Hockey League. Konechny's been placed on IR by the Philadelphia Flyers. Igor Zamula has been recalled by the Flyers. Now, of course, the Flyers are in free fall from a standings standpoint. So for Konechny, it's just, take the time you need, come back when you're ready, that kind of thing. And so, yeah, for the Flyers, it's one of those things, right? I'm sure if you're a Flyers fan, you go, yeah, of course Konechny got hurt. He's one of our best forwards. I would argue he's their best forward so far this year, but people can make that argument if they want. They can argue Kevin Hayes too, I would think. Schmidt is out with illness, so they've recalled Dawes for the New Jersey Devils. That I think tells you that Vanacek would be the starter. I haven't seen for sure Vanacek's the starter for today's game. But the New Jersey Devils, with their final game of November, can equal a team record. Right now they're 12-1 in November. The team's record is 13 wins. That was set in March of 2001. So for the New Jersey Devils, I really think this has been a fantastic run, and I think the fact that we're at the end of November and they're still, I mean, if they win tonight, they pass Boston and they're first in the East and first overall too. So I think that we can kind of throw away the idea that they're just going to fade, they're going to fall off. I mean, I know that people will point to their record, look at their schedule, and go, well, there were some soft games here. Sure, everybody has that. You don't always win those games that are on that soft schedule. So yeah, I really do give them full credit for this, and we'll see whether or not they actually end up first overall after tonight's game. Kaprizov ties a franchise record with an 8-game assist streak. He matched that yesterday. So he has a chance to go for 9. I believe they play tomorrow. So he'll be going for a 9-game assist streak then. Kaprizov is the most dynamic forward Minnesota's ever had. All apologies to Marian Gaborik. I don't think Gaborik ever was as electrifying as regularly as Kaprizov is. Gaborik was good for a highlight reel move about once a game. I would say about once a game. Kaprizov, it feels like it's almost every shift. He does something fantastic. And Minnesota's, fortunate to have him in the lineup right now and playing as well as he is. And yeah, we'll see if he can set a new record. He might as well. He's going to have the whole Minnesota Wild record book by the time his time in Minnesota's done. Robert Thomas is out for St. Louis right now. Lower body injury. It's considered day-to-day. It's not considered anything major. Bad timing, too, because Thomas has had it going lately. He's been playing well. I wanted to mention here, too, it's one thing that I said last night. I was watching the Winnipeg-Chicago game with Yvonne. She was helping to put together the Christmas tree you see here. And I was talking to her about certain players on Winnipeg, and, I'm just saying with Thomas, that's reminding me of it. I do enjoy watching as much hockey as I do because I have a good idea of who's doing well at that time for that team, that I could talk to her about Winnipeg players, throw in the odd Chicago player, and have some relative sense of knowing what I'm talking about with that. So that's kind of a nice feature out of all this. But yeah, because it is a lot of hockey to watch. So that's something I thought that's actually kind of fun. That I can, have that conversation, her being a Jets fan and watching their games as she does. So yeah, Thomas being out day to day, hopefully that doesn't impact him when he comes back, and it just means somebody else can jump in. St. Louis does have depth. They also have had the very streaky season so far, but they have a lot of depth. So I don't think it's very concerning. Jake Neighbors, who's been called up, skating on, I believe it's the first line at practice today, so we'll see if he ends up playing there. Might as well. I mean, really, with St. Louis, they're very much a 4-line team, so I don't worry about who's on what line. For Boston, news is, Craig Smith likely doesn't play tomorrow against Tampa. Ullmark looks like he won't miss time at all. It's uncertain whether he's going to start or be the backup, but he looks like he's going to dress tomorrow. Frederic should play. The expectation is Trent Frederic will play, and Derek Forbort will be evaluated tomorrow morning, so he may very well end up playing for Boston tomorrow as well. Forbort's been quite a find for Boston on the blue line. I think he's playing the best hockey he has in his career, and we'll see whether or not it can continue. But for Boston, it really has been a matter of players they've picked up have all fit in pretty well. It's been a remarkable run so far this year. We'll see how far it can go. The Avalanche making news not too long before I started recording this. They've signed Alex Galchenyuk for the remainder of this season. So he came into training camp on a tryout, got hurt, so they didn't sign him. He's been playing for the Eagles, and I guess he's impressed well enough with the Colorado Eagles that they've decided to sign him. So he signs for the rest of the season. We'll see how many games he gets into. Galchenyuk's really bounced around the league. I don't know how many teams he's been with. I want to say this is the 7th. It may be more than that, but I want to say 7th. Something is maybe 6th or 7th. But anyways, Galchenyuk has made his rounds, and he's still relatively young for a player who's played with that many teams. So the Sillinger record is probably safe. Maybe. Could do a video on that, actually. So yeah, Galchenyuk signing with Colorado. We'll see how long he plays there. James Reimer's been placed on the IR by the San Jose Sharks. It's a lower body injury for him. They've called up Jeffrey Viel. Viel, tough player, good fourth liner, a little bit of energy here and there too. And so we'll see what Viel brings to the San Jose lineup when he gets in. The one thing that the one thing I watch is guys are getting sent down and called up all the time. Quite a lot of the time it feels like they're paper moves where, yeah, you've been sent down to the AHL, but don't worry about getting on a plane or a bus or anything to go there because the next day you're going to get called back up. It's done for salary cap reasons. The earliest I can remember seeing it would have been, I want to say about 2011 with the Canucks when Mike Gillis was doing that. They had to have a capologist because they were in so much trouble. And so they had like 25 grand in cap space. They'd be sending guys down, bringing them up, sending them down, and doing it day after day just to do the gymnastics needed to stay cap compliant. So This year it's going to be an epidemic basically because half the league is at the cap, so we'll see how things go. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. As always, don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through, you just happened upon this video. And hey, thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.